Hello, I'm Kevin down here in Miami, and I'm posting this response to all of the stuff that's going on the internet about Pastor Wright. Never been to the church, never even been to Chicago, but I have a few comments. First of all, I want to talk about people genuinely asking questions. The problem I have with so many people on the internet and in our society on the news is that we ask questions, but we have no desire to truly understand. We ask questions, and as soon as someone begins to explain or give an explanation of the very question that they're asking them, immediately they start cutting the person off, not giving the person a chance to understand, or the question is answered and the answer is not addressed. Well, can you expound further? That's what a problem I have. It seems as though people want to use this situation with Pastor Wright and not even try to understand what the man is talking about. Okay? So that's the first thing I want to talk about. There's nothing else that upsets me more than when someone asks you a question and they don't want to know the answer. Well, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask me the question. Okay. First of all, I want to talk about how Pastor's Wright, I want to explain to the viewers out there how Pastor Wright's and Trinity's church, never been to the church, never even knew about the church till all this popped up in the last week or so, about how this church, in my opinion, is truly all-American type church. First of all, let's talk about what America is. Okay, America is a mosaic of many different cultures, many different people, and many different race and ethnicities and things of that sort. That's what America is. It seems to me that anytime, whether it's Arab American or Asian American, anytime somebody steps out of the mold of what quote unquote mainstream America is, that's looked upon as being outside America, outside of being America. Anytime you have a community, a church, a synagogue, or a temple step up and try to make their community better, you have an all-American type religious facility. Being American is not being born again Christian or Islam or Hindu or anything like that. It's not about that. Okay? Being all American is making your piece of America great. And this is why I think that church, which I never heard of before until all this popped up again, is all American. Let me explain a few things. That church is located on the south side of Chicago. Okay? From my readings and my findings and things like that, that church has done everything possible to uplift that particular community. Where's that community located? South side of Chicago, city Chicago. Is not Chicago in America? What state is that? What state is it in? It's in Illinois. Is Illinois not in the United States of America? And of course, it is in the United States of America. Okay? You have a community, a church, that has done things in the community to uplift that community. When that community is uplifted, you have more jobs created. You have more people working off the streets, less people on drugs, less people selling the drugs. Okay? What they're doing is creating a less burden on the taxpayer dollars, thus being more American. Then we have the whole issue about, well, they're only talking about black people, this, that, and the other. Oh, they're only talking about, and the website, their missions only focus on black people. Wait a minute. The neighborhood is predominantly African American, predominantly black. I don't have a problem with that. Nothing in his sermons was anti-white. Nothing in Pastor's sermons was anti-American. Absolutely nothing. We listen, we hear a few choice words, but we don't want to try to understand. The problem I have, okay, was that as soon as someone says something about African American or African culture, it is no longer American. Let me explain something to you. African culture itself is American. I'll say it again. African culture itself is part of the American experience. When Africans got here, they had certain culture that they brought here from Africa with them. This church is simply, with the garbs, with the African principles and things, this church is doing nothing more than exposing their community to the values of certain African traditions, value systems, certain African value systems that parallels the value systems in the Bible. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there absolutely anything wrong with telling a young African American girl or telling a young African American guy, not only are these principles that we're studying here in the Bible relate to you directly, they also relate to your African culture. Your African culture, your ancestors before the Mayflower, if you will, okay? Before the Mayflower, before the slave ships. It is part of our heritage, these value systems that we want to help uplift these communities. Is there anything wrong with that? How is that being anti-American? How is that being racism? It is not. Listen to what the man is talking about. Listen to the sermon. That church, Trinity, is simply making their piece of America better. Once that piece of America gets better, it affects the whole nation, okay? It affects the entire nation. Please understand that, okay? If there's a community organization or a all-Hispanic church down in, let's say, San Antonio, Texas, and they're concerned about drugs and they're concerned about this, and they bring elements of their culture into their congregation to say, hey, this is what we come from. This is what we are. Let's uplift ourselves. Let's be better than this. We are better than the drugs. We are better than this. We're better than being on welfare. We're better than all this that society tell us we're not. Okay? They make their community better. America's better. That church is all American. Okay? You go to a Jewish synagogue, okay? Go to a synagogue. Every Saturday you have young men studying about Jewish principles, about their manhood, about how to make themselves better men. Because we have so many Jewish men in our society and Jewish women who have learned those principles since a very early age, America is a better place. Why is America a better place? Because there are better people for having those type studies, okay? Please understand what's going on here. It is about America, okay? Once that church has uplifted, the problem is, as soon as you infuse and talk about African culture as if it's not a part of the American experience, because we know it is, study your history, okay? We think that all of a sudden some revolution is going on. All of a sudden some anti-American thoughts or anti-Semitism is going on. That is clearly not the case. As soon as we see a African American woman, certain people, how could we be in America who talk about accepting people the way they are, okay? Talking about accepting the people the way they are, not be in America. As soon as we have an African American woman growing their hair out natural, all of a sudden it's anti-American. Oh, what are you into? Are you into this organization? What are you into? Are you into this organization? A black woman can't even grow her hair out natural without assumptions being made in this country. All of a sudden it's anti-American. Okay? Well, what about before the chemicals? Okay? What about before Madam C.J. Walker? Okay? Okay? My time is almost out. I'm going to continue with this about how this pastor, the church, and definitely Barack Obama is all American and they are good for this country. All three. Regardless of what the video says, regardless of all this fear going on. Okay? Let's step it up. Let's think. Let's listen. Let's not ask questions and not willing to hear the answer, because that's disturbing to me. I'll be right back.